Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lives. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now, in today's episode, I'm working out in the bullpen in my backyard, and I'm going to be doing some log clean and press. Now, I was going to throw equipment on today, like a belt, wrist wraps, and maybe some knee sleeves to try to see what I could hit with that for a 1-rep max, but I changed my mind. I really don't like doing the log clean and press with equipment on. Sometimes it actually hinders me and it throws me off, and it takes forever to put that gear on. So I'm going to go all natural today and see what I can hit just as a natural lifter without any of that equipment on. Now, as I'm doing the log clean and press in giant set format, I'm also going to be talking about some exercises that help me to get better at the log clean and press. And if I don't hit my number today, then you can completely disregard this video and it was a giant waste of time. But spoiler alert, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. So let's pop into today's workout and let's see what we got going on. So for today's strength giant set, I'm first going to start off with the stone over the shoulder. Then I'm going to gingerly walk over to the log and I'm going to do the log clean and press. I'm going to start off with lightweight in the beginning and work my way up each round. And I'm going to be doing 6 reps on just the log by itself for now. Then I'm going to move to 3 repetitions. And then as I start getting into my bigger sets, then I'm going to move into a 1-rep sequence until I hit a max. And I'm also going to be doing some 6-way windmills in between to work my obliques and to work my shoulders and my hip mobility. And then I'm going to be doing some jump roping as well. And there's a reason why I'm sequencing all of these exercise movements into my giant set on my log clean and press day, which I'm going to go through one by one. So starting with the stone over the shoulder, that's a very light stone. It's only 84 pounds. And all I'm trying to do is just wake everything up explosively. When I first pick up the stone at the beginning of the workout and throw it over my shoulder, it feels weird, it feels awkward because my muscles are still asleep. And I need every single, not just big muscles, but every single tiny muscle to wake up. And I can't think of anything better than throwing that stone over the shoulder as fast as you can, from the ground over the shoulder in one movement. I'm also not just jumping into my max weight when I get into the log clean and press. So I'm not just coming in being like, I'm gonna lift 220 pounds and start here. I start with very lightweight and I move with repetitions in order to make sure that everything is primed and moving properly. And when I do this in conjunction with that stone over the shoulder, and the third movement that I'm doing, which is the 6-way windmills, this exercise works your obliques, but it also works your shoulder mobility and kind of gets your hips moving in a healthy format, because you're going to need those hips as you start to clean that log and it gets heavier and heavier. So this is a great exercise to do to really wake everything up. And then the reason why I'm doing the jump rope is actually for 3 reasons. Number 1 is it warms up my shoulders, because doing that rotation right there really helps my rotator cuffs start to wake up. And as I'm doing the log in conjunction with this, it's being able to utilize those rotators as I'm stabilizing the implement overhead. I'm also doing it for cardiovascular work, to make sure my conditioning is going up and my heart rate is staying alert and awake. And I'm also doing it for timing. Now, what the heck is timing? Pretty much if you're an athlete, you know all about timing. Timing is about making sure that you're in the right position and you're able to move quickly in order to maximize a movement or to maximize a function. So for basketball, if you're like walking around the 3-point line, your partner might toss you the ball and you might catch it, land on your feet, and then from that position, jump and shoot the basket. That's called timing drills. For baseball, it's getting in that position or that hitting position and kind of making sure you know when you can explosively move through a movement to maximize output. To either hit a home run or to strike the hitter out. In boxing, you'll see those timing bags where people are hitting those bags over and over again. People wonder what the heck they're doing. They're working on their timing, because if they can time a hit when their opponent has their hands down or is in a weakened position, then they're able to maximize that output and they're able to land that punch where they want it to be, where it'll knock their opponent out. That's the same thing with jump roping. When you're jump roping, in the beginning, it's kind of awkward for me. I kind of have to stumble a little bit, like every 10 rotations, because if I haven't done jump roping in a while, then my timing is completely off. But then once I start getting my timing down as the workout continues, I'm also able to time that log. So as I roll that log up to my chest, you'll see that once I dip to catch the log into the front rack position, I immediately time it and explode and I'm able to kind of catch it midair. So jump roping really helps me time that movement, as it does with the circus dumbbell and with the Axel Continental Clean and Press. It's just a great exercise to do for conditioning, shoulder mobility, shoulder strengthening, and to get timing down when you're doing athletic movements. So when you combine all of these things together on your log clean and press day, you're able to maximize strength output because your body's going to be ready to really lift when it gets heavy. So now as I'm getting up to my top set, like I said, I was supposed to put equipment on a long time ago, but I was feeling so good and I really wanted to see where I was naturally. But I knew I'd be very disappointed if I didn't hit this weight because I'm taking a big risk by not putting all of my equipment on. So surprisingly, this felt and moved pretty efficiently. You'll just see, I've had surgery on my bicep over a year ago, so the stabilizer isn't quite as strong as the other arm. Once I get it up and I timed it perfectly, I had to fight a little bit overhead in order to stabilize it. But it went up and I was very happy with that because that tells me that if I put equipment on, then I might be able to lift at least 10 to 20 pounds more weight on that log. So this is why it's important to do all these movements as I'm going up in weight, because it really makes sure that I'm ready to make that lift. All right, so that went a lot better than anticipated. So I'm really happy with that. 235 pounds. I think I haven't hit that since I had surgery on my bicep, before I had surgery on my bicep. And it's been about a year since I've had that surgery. So the stabilizer in my bicep tendon is actually kicking and firing. And that's why I was able to lock it out at the end. So I was really appreciative of that. Now we're going to go ahead and pop into the variation giant set, assistance giant set, and accessory giant set. We're just going to steamroll through those. So let's pop into that right now. Now for the variation giant set, I was doing 3 rounds and I upped the weight on the stone. So I was going to work up to a 1 rep max within 3 rounds with the stone because this is just a great exercise to do for strongman. It's great for conditioning and for overall strength. And I just like doing it. It's one of my favorite movements to do. And I'm also going to be doing the log incline bench press. So I'm starting with a lighter weight and I'm just going to move up to a 6 rep max. And I really like doing this kind of movement because I'm able to overload the log in a safe manner after doing the log, since the log is already out here and I really don't want to waste my time. And then I just continue to go on with the 6-way windmills just to kind of keep an even number on those obliques and my shoulder mobility and hip mobility. And I continued to do the jump ropes as well for all the obvious reasons I said before. If you watch my channel long enough, you know that I really like to use the log as much as I can when it's out, because I don't like to bring out a whole bunch of equipment and then just not use it for any reason other than just trying to move through movements as fast as I can. With the log, since I don't get to touch it that much because I have a life, I have a family, I have children, I have a wife, and I have a full-time job that I have to do. So when the log is out, I really want to make sure that I'm getting all of the effort that I can while it's out and while I can utilize it. So since I've explained all the other movements as to why this helps with the log clean and press, this implement helps with the log clean and press because you're able to kind of still use the log, but in a different way. So you're able to kind of familiarize yourself with it a little bit more and you can actually add more weight. So this is why I like to do the log incline bench press on the same day as my log clean and press. It's already out there, it's already available. I already have the weights out. So let's just overload it and let's just continue to practice with it and get familiar with the implement. That way when it's locked out and overhead, it's not too foreign. And that's why I like to do this on the same day as my log clean and press. Now this is my top set for the log incline bench press. And I really like doing this because of all the reasons I mentioned, but all that work I've done so far, look at how hard this is. And yes, it does give a little bit of a deficit, but the handles are neutral and you have to start from the bottom of the lift for the first lift, kind of like a deadlift. So I really like doing this because I get a little extra chest workout and I'm able to overload the movement. Now for the assistance giant set, I was doing 3 rounds and I was starting off with the dumbbells and I'm doing the seated overhead dumbbell press. And this is something that I contribute to my overhead strength, is doing this movement. I found that my overhead strength improved a lot doing this. And then for the antagonistic movement, I would just pick up those same dumbbells and do a short little farmer's walk as I'd walk it back in and put the weights away and get different weights out. Then I'd move on to the pull-up press. So I subbed out the 6-way windmill for the pull-up press. And I really like doing this movement because then I'm able to really isolate those obliques a little bit more and challenge them in a different way. And then I continue to do jump ropes just to make sure that I'm finishing on a nice even number, getting my conditioning, my shoulder strength workout, and my timing. Now, the hardest thing that I would probably say about the seated dumbbell press is getting those dumbbells up to your shoulders. And yes, it's not the funnest thing in the world, but once you kind of get used to it and once you kind of get the technique down, it's really beneficial. You could have people come over and help you out in the gym or whatever and try to help you that way. But really, in my opinion, I think the best thing to do is just to learn how to get that up to your shoulders. And the way I like to do it is stack it on my thigh and then lean forward a little bit and keep my hand in a neutral position and just kick it up in that way. My right hand first, since I'm right hand dominant, and then my left hand after that. Now for my top set here, my shoulders were actually feeling really good and I felt like I could do the 85-pound dumbbells for 10 repetitions. However, you'll see I'm sliding down the bench. My feet were slipping and sliding from underneath me. So I was having a hard time kind of getting traction and being able to get in a sturdy position. So as I'm going down and sliding down in my seat, I kind of got into a very disadvantaged position. And so as a result, I was only managed to squeak out 7 reps. But still, I'm happy with that because I was supposed to do the 75-pounders and I actually moved to 85-pounders. And if I wasn't slipping and sliding around, then I actually would have been able to hit that weight for, I believe, for 10 repetitions. But that's just something to do and work on for next time. And for the accessory giant set, I was doing 3 rounds. And since again, the log is already out here, this is a great exercise to do for the log because you're able to tricep extension overhead. And I have that log empty, which is 75 pounds. And that really gets my triceps familiar with being in that position to press it overhead. Always work your triceps out. That's the key to lifting heavy, whether on the log, bench press, or overhead pressing. And then I would throw that log down and turn it around. And then I would immediately start doing some tricep push-ups where I put my hands closer together and I'm really focusing on my tricep extensions. And it works my triceps a lot, but it also works my chest in a different way. So I really like doing this movement as an accessory movement as well. And this does help with the log, with the push factor. And then I would finish off with face pulls because you always want to make sure that you have shoulder health and back health when you're lifting the log because that's how you can get impingements. And these are all the exercises that have helped me get better at the log. And I hope that they help you as well. Please try it out. So there you have it. Those are a lot of exercises that both help with the log clean and press and inadvertently help with the log clean and press. Hopefully you learned something new, and I really appreciate everybody stopping by and working out with me in the backyard on this beautiful evening. I'll see you next time. Thank you.